morning.
Right. You're comfortable. Cute.
I think I am. It's been a long time since I put on some clothes,
I know,
baby. Yes!
All right.
The shimmer is back.
Hi guys, this is episode 7. We are back, and I'm going to start the podcast with saying, do you see all this glam across from me?
I am back, y'all. I am back. Y'all know I have not been putting on the clothes, but I got a little 1-2 going on.
A little shimmy.
A little shimmy.
How are you feeling?
I feel amazing.
You look great.
You look great.
But I think you look better. Let's just say. Okay.
Thank you. We both look amazing.
You both look great. You both look amazing. You both look awesome.
Yes, feeling good. That's
Feeling
the
good.
biggest thing.
Yes. How do you feel?
I feel amazing.
Yeah, you took a break from.
I am taking a break from social media.
Up?
Oh, I feel rested,
good.
focused, faithful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the above.
All the above.
Glasses are so cute.
Thank you. I got some new frames.
Yes,
you know,
so cute.
I'm in the 40 plus.
51.
My doctor said, "Is the vision changing?" I said, "It is a little bit." Yeah.
I have bifocal contacts.
Really?
Yes.
I need to get some of those.
Yes.
So I have the progressives.
Yes, that's even. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are cute.
Thank you.
Those are progressives too.
Those are progressives.
Wow.
I had to pay a little, more to get it a little thin, but.
Girl, they look.
Thank you. New season, new ebony, new everything.
It's supposed to be popcorn season. That was the word.
It's still popcorn season. You just wait.
I'm here with the viewers, and we're waiting to see. Stay in tune.
Stay tuned.
So, what was your feedback from it? Well, did you have?
Yeah.
Okay, people called you. That's true. So contact.
Yes, I'm not on social media.
Correct.
But I did get some in-person comments.
Okay.
What I found out is our viewers are like binge watching. They was like, I'm
Yes.
caught up.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that y'all.
Yes.
It's taking our podcast serious, and because it's so meaningful, very meaningful, very serious, very transparent. So I'm excited.
So funny enough, y'all, I'm just using my phone because my notes are on my phone. Funny enough, I had dinner with a friend of mine last week.
Really?
She said, I can't wait to sit down with you to talk about the podcast. I was like, okay, cool. I'm excited. She legit had taken notes. Yes.
I love it.
I almost cried. I was like, she's like, oh no, girl. Like episode 2, when you said that you were gonna make a lemonade stand and like you get the business. Episode, like legit, like
wow.
I was like, wow. She's like, yeah, because what we take for granted is that it resonates with people, but they haven't had a chance to actually hear somebody explain it. So I think as we forget, like we talked about it, and people don't know, we talked about this podcast for 3 months before we even actually sat down, which is insane.
Yes.
But that part, like I didn't really realize, because one of my friends wants us, and I'm gonna say it out loud because I know she's gonna watch this on Monday. Is that she wants to do a Q&A where we actually are talking. Oh. And I was like, girl, it's a little bit of a lot.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Y'all know I like a little spice. Let's do it.
Anyway, but I thought that was kind of cool. The people really are like, it's, you don't realize what we're saying and in our journeys are actually so many other people's things.
Yeah.
So that was basically it, which was really like just very touching. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So know that we're changing lives.
I'm excited about it. And just learning the language. Yeah. Even as the podcasts go on, I'm learning the language and things like that. So I'm learning as we go. Let's do it.
Let's learn. So since we're learning, this episode is called Getting Back to Me, focused on healing after disappointment and divorce.
Yes.
So one thing we talked about, of course, was grieving the actual marriage and what that actually looks like. So for you, since you are out of it recent, how, like, for instance, I'm going to go with the most recent thing would be like, with grieving what could be or what would have been. How do you manage that?
Yeah.
It's a loss.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it on a podcast or if I mentioned it on social media. I know for sure it was social media. But I think the hardest part was when my male therapist at the time, when I was telling him the story, because we get caught up in telling the story over and over. Right. But when I was telling him the story, he ended and said, of course, he's a male, he's a man. He said, well, you're going to have to grieve that version of him that you thought he was. And it felt like he cursed me out when he said that. Oh. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And he was like, you're going to have to like bury and grieve the person who you thought him to be. And so when I got off the call, I remember that goes back to the breaking of the ice. And of the glasses. And I'm like breaking it. And I'm like, this is the hardest it's gonna ever be. And so that day was the bottom. So even though like the next day it wasn't like, oh yeah, sunflowers and roses and stuff, I remember this is the worst it's gonna be. Allow it, grieve it, cry it, bury it, funeralize it, whatever you have to do. But then burn it up, but then get back up.
Yeah.
So that was, I had to grieve.
So you mean grieve the person himself because y'all were friends. I mean, you felt like y'all were friends.
Yeah, I felt like we were friends. Yeah. I had to grieve not just him, but what could have been. Right. I had to grieve what I thought people thought it was going to be. I had to grieve that dynamic of our family. I had to grieve everything attached to it.
Yeah.
So physically, I got rid of like wedding pictures. I needed to grieve it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
So, and it's nothing that happens like overnight, because when you're grieving it initially, you haven't then gone through what comes next, which is all the new events that you're not going to be able to do together.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't even get to, like, so when you're grieving, you're like, oh, I'm going to grieve, I can't. But then you get to a birthday or a holiday or your dad's normal fish fry on Good Friday. And you're just like, oh wait, it's just going to be me walking to the fish fry.
Exactly.
So that part I think is just I always go from a we to an I.
Yes.
And it's just such a different situation where you're like, I got to go in there. That's why the healing process is so important, because you have to be 10 toes down on being like, I'm good with this.
Exactly. And just like you said, it's not overnight, but just think about like a physical death. Yeah. If somebody passed away, you're so busy, planning for the funeral. But the hardest part is when the band goes and the preacher goes and the audience and everybody goes. Then you really start feeling those holidays and feeling those moments. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. What was your point in your marriage where you grieved? Or
I mean, my first year was horrible.
Yeah.
My girl, I look at you. My first year was trash. I mean, it was just it was just hard. I mean, I went from just and it's so funny to say it, because I went from having a partner, because I didn't, a husband. But I went from having this part of my life just ripped from me. I felt like, and I did it to myself. Of course, because I divorced, I did the paperwork, I did, but I felt like I just ripped it from me, and everything had changed so fast. Like holidays came so fast, everything just came. And I remember my first Christmas, one of my friend at the time was going to this cabin, and I was like, oh, we're gonna be. She's like, you shouldn't be in your house. She's like, even though your Christmases, and our Christmases were always bad. Like, he was always super sick because he was stressed out because he was trying to feed
both.
Correct. So it was never like this whole holiday celebration. And she's like, you need to be out of that house. So we went to this wonderful trip, and she sees this girl. Thank you to this day. We ended up going to North Carolina to these cabins. Best trip ever. My girls loved it, and I remember when we got back the next year, Christmas was amazing, like decorated, because we had no real. I think if we would have stayed, we would have had this whole thing of loss in the house, and I think it just helped us just push us. But I remember that, like, being in the house in the cabins and just being like, this is insane. Like, we're not even. And I had been technically separated since January. This is 11 months later.
Yeah.
So it washes over you, and you don't, and you're never really ready for it. I think you just, even 8 years later, I'm still doing stuff. My kid's about to be a senior, and I'm like, it's gonna be a different year.
Yeah.
So just grieving that, and not even the person, is just grieving the marriage, what your expectation of the marriage is going to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what you was taught, and the expectations. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
And I have to, just for those viewers that just coming on that probably didn't catch one, I grieved in my marriage, and you grieved afterwards.
After, yeah.
So that was the difference.
Just two completely different things, because if you're in the marriage saying this person's not going to do that, well, if you're in the marriage, you're trying to hopefully progress forward, and they keep pulling you back. You're like, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. Whereas with me, it's just cut off, and I'm like, I don't even have opportunity to even try to make it work. I just got to make it work with me.
Right.
So
it's like jumping off the cliff.
I tell you, jump off.
Yeah.
And then, So, and hope you don't, crash and burn at the bottom. But it has to be, like I say to you all the time, it has to be better. My kids and I have this saying that goes, anything is better than this.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do this. Like you just said, we're not going to do this anymore. So we know anything will not be a repetition of this. And that helps.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think you're never prepared for it.
Yeah.
It's just the smallest things would be like, man, I know it's going to make me upset. Or not even upset, just trigger me.
Yeah.
You know,
and both of them hurt. Yeah. So it's not like you could say, okay, well, I wish I went her way or she would have went my way. Both of them hurt because you jump off the cliff and it's the unknown.
Yeah.
But then also when you're in the marriage and you're still trying to make it work, it's like you edge into the cliff and you keep breaking your heart over and over.
Oh Lord, yeah. See people in the back. You keep breaking your heart yourself
over and over.
This person is not. How do they say? I let him do something. It's like, no, you allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't let him do anything. I allowed it. I signed off on it. I concretely said it was okay. I didn't make any waves in the ocean. I was like, oh, you allow it. There's such a difference saying I'm going to let you in my house or I'm going to allow you in my house.
Yes.
It's not the same.
It's not the same
at all.
And I remember you said just a few minutes ago that you did the divorce and I also initiated the divorce. But I remember at the divorce, signing the papers and feeling empowered. I remember hearing Whitney Houston on I Want to Dance with Somebody. I want to dance with somebody. Woo! I want to feel the heat with somebody. And a lady who was doing the paperwork and I'm just smiling down. And he walked off and she said, oh, he's mad.
He's mad, huh?
I said, I don't care. I want to dance with somebody. Baby, I've been holding on for 5 years.
Oh, no.
And then when I got in the car, I looked up the song and danced all the way home. Yeah.
And I think, I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend. A friend of my partners, and it was a guy, and he's divorced, maybe like 2 years or whatever. And he was just saying about like how different it is as a man. Of course, like readjusting and of course grieving, raise kids together.
Oh,
yeah. So like everything changes. Like you can't, your situation. Because again, your dynamic of we were going to go to the football game is now I'm going to sit over here and you're going to sit over there.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes your mindset. And he said, the one thing, and I want to make sure I say this, is that he said, but I'm no longer living in survival mode. In some of these relationships, I think people are just surviving to not tip the boat, rock the boat, drown the boat, submerge the boat. And they're just like saying it's okay to be here because, I'm just going to survive through it. And it's like, no, you need to get out of it.
You got to get out of it.
And so again, I'd like, because I'm going to rediscovering you're outside the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been in survival mode for so long.
Yeah.
You don't know, again, you're used to saying my partner may bring the trash in on Monday nights. I was like, do I bring the trash in on Monday nights?
Yes.
Bring the trash in on Monday nights? Like, what does that look like? So I think you have to really, again, readjust your mind and rediscover, as the note says, who you are.
You have to rediscover who you are.
So who are you now?
Oh.
I know we talked about it.
Yes, I am light. I am breath of fresh air. I am free.
Yeah.
I am Ebony.
I know.
McGee.
And people say we shouldn't say what you are.
I'm free.
If you don't own it as being free, you were really in a situation. Free to be who you are.
Free who, yeah, and it's not just free because I have to say this, it wasn't always bad.
No.
It's not just free from it's free from bondage, opinions, views. I'm just in a different place in my life, so I'm walking in freedom.
Yeah.
And so even if I'm married, because I will get married again. When I get married again, I'm still walking into that freedom. But it's me realizing I don't have to do it for your approval, your views, your opinions, and what you say or what you're gonna think, whether it's good or bad. Like I'm just free. I'm just who I am.
And I think that's one of the things that gets lost when we transition to this side is that we would choose. I tell people all the time, I would have chosen to stay married.
Yeah,
like that's what I was raised. So I had to readjust and figure it out. But in that marriage, I was not who I am now.
Oh.
So that person, I don't even know who she is. I don't know who she was. The only thing about that person, it was probably the same as the mom in me.
Yeah.
She's the same. I would say that she's the same person. But me as who I am as Naya, girl, I wouldn't even know who she was if I saw her on the street.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I was like, who are you? And we had a conversation. And there was a girl, I wish I could find it. She was doing a poetry reading. She was saying, like, talking to herself. And she was like, I don't even know who you are. Like, how could that even be your energy to even think those things were okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's, yeah.
So, that is so good. Yeah. And I think I was just like on a robot.
Oh, yeah,
work,
robotic.
Come home, do it again. Work, come home, do it again.
Well, especially once you probably, I think for you, once you close your business down, I think it definitely was robotic.
Yeah.
It was just monotonous. It was like, it's like we're making the donuts.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing. And unfortunately, your partner's not going to change anything.
Oh yeah.
So we're all in the same robotic cycle of just this is okay.
Yeah, you pick up the kids, I pick the kids up. You do this, I do that. Yeah.
I'll fold the clothes. We'll talk, maybe not. No plans, no partnership. No empathy. Just robots.
Yeah, and then before you know it, 10 years pass.
Yeah.
15 years pass.
Yeah. I had a friend say that to me the other day, and it almost broke my heart. And she said, "Girl, I feel like we're roommates." And I grabbed her hand. I said, "Girl, yeah, if that's how you feel, you need to start work." I couldn't even get it out. I grabbed her hand. I said, "Girl, if that is your thing, you need to fix it now."
Yeah, fix it.
Like right now. I don't know what fix. I said, I don't know what fix it looks like for y'all.
Oh, I like that.
I don't. I said, but if you feel like that and you are saying that to another person out loud, which I never said, you need to do some work ASAP. Like it's not going to change.
I love that you said to do the work. Because work is different from everybody else. Because people just assume that because we're divorced, we're going to say divorce. No, do the work.
No.
If you can save your marriage and that's your person, for sure, do the work.
Two supportive people. They've done amazing work together and apart. Yeah. They've reached high goals together and apart. So I'm like, no, I would never not want somebody to stay married. I preach it, scream it. I believe in it. Yeah. But I also don't want to say anything that's unhealthy. Yeah. So if you feel like you're living with a roommate, that's not healthy. Exactly. So my first thing I said to that person was like, are y'all communicating? She's like, I don't know what that is. She said, I don't even know if what we do is communicating. I was like, wow.
Do the work.
I said, you have to do the work. I was like, you gotta figure. And I said, I can't give you what the work is. I said, because I can tell you what I would have done, which would have been talked more, and I don't know what that would have put me at, but I can promise you the one thing I recommend is you have to communicate it. Exactly. And I said, it's going to hurt. I said, because if you watch the podcast, I literally say, if I scream at you, that's going to hurt you. If I'm mad with you, it's going to hurt your feelings. So it's no different from that. If I tell you I'm unhappy with you at this time, and I have A, B, C through G to tell you why, that's going to hurt your feelings. Exactly. But what's going to hurt more is, like I told her, is you walk out this house. Exactly. Or him walking out. Mm-hmm. So you got to communicate. So again, rediscovering your relationship as a whole, because you don't, as we say, we rediscovered ourselves. In marriages, you have to rediscover yourselves as a whole. Yeah, absolutely. And individually, you have to do that inner work on you. And and I'm realizing too, like, just working on myself and my singleness, there's a level. So, as soon as you think that you have arrived, there's more work to do. And then when I get into a relationship, then there's more work to do. A lot more. Yes, a lot more. So it's just like you just keep elevating, and you keep doing that work. And as long as y'all two keep growing, communicating, praying, I think it's just so difficult. I think because when we talk about the healing after the disappointment of it, I think the word disappointment just resonates just so deep with me, because I do really feel like I was just disappointed. Yeah. More so disappointed. I wasn't even hurt in the beginning. I got hurt later, but I was just so disappointed, like, in him, because I was like, I just can't believe this is like where you wanted us to go. And then once we divorced, the disappointment of like, we're not gonna be able to be in the same space for a long time. Yeah. So that's a disappointment, because we have kids. Yeah. We have family members, and we have, work friends, and so that part. And then again, as we talk about it, trying to figure out what does that look like, because you say there's almost like a shame of saying, well, now I'm single at whatever age it is, and it's like, do I still go to the same place we shot pool at, or do I still go to the same? So that part, I think, is just trying, again, going back from a we to an I, and it's sometimes part of it's embarrassment, and it's just, it hurts. Yeah. Yeah. And just what you mentioned, the disappointment, it comes in different areas. I remember being very disappointed in the beginning, because I was like, why did you do this? But then also I remember feeling disappointed when he came to the realization on, oh wait, you were a good wife. Oh Lord. So then I'm disappointed. Like, he was like, he was like, yeah, I thought about it. You were a good wife. Right. So then there's more disappointment. Like, hello, what did you think I've been doing for 5 years? Yeah, but yourself. So that's 2 phases of disappointment. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we're going to go ahead and grieve that thing out. Yeah. And move right along. And you're going to go ahead and grieve that thing out. Because whatever I did mine. Yeah. And again, it goes back to 5. I was like, now you're 5. You're at 4, 58, 9, and then click. And let's click. Let's go. We're not, and so just like what you said, people have, but then that's when you grieve after the marriage.
Yeah. You could be in the same marriage, and two people could grieve at different times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that. And let me say this: I do think that men, women, whoever does the action, I think they do at some point realize that might not have been the right thing to do. Yeah. But unfortunately, they realize it way too late. Yeah. So, and we're so far down the freaking, we're in another airport. Like we're in Istanbul, you're still in New Orleans. We're not even hearing different languages. It's a language barrier.
I'm out the ring.
I'm not even, and I'm definitely not in the ring. Yeah. It's not even an option. So I think that's the part that's so interesting. I think most people who, like I say, do whatever happens in the end come back and be like, oh, well, that's why when people are not healed after, people don't own the fact that that's what happened in your marriage, or you just look at them as being your partner. Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, they're so cute. And then you bring them back in. I feel like that's when they do more damage. Yeah. Because you're like you say, you keep hurting yourself over and over until you're like, you know what, this time it really hurt. Yeah. So I'm gonna walk away. Yeah. I think I need to. For me, I think it's time for me to pull myself. Yeah. But yeah, it's just. Yeah, and it goes back to what you said, when you rediscover yourself and you center yourself. Because I worked in the medical field for many, many, many years before I got my consultant, and there's this term called homeostasis. But when you center yourself and you really get to know who you are, it's just certain things that shed off, just conversations, people, places, and things. And so as you continue to fill up, so I advise anybody, even if you're in a marriage and you're not sure where to go, or even if you want to work on your marriage, center yourself, get in relationship with God, and then allow him to take away, kind of like what I mentioned, whatever in your hand will come out, whatever is assigned to you will come into your hand. But if you work on yourself, you don't have to remove or add anything that's you're gonna attract it. You said it, rediscovering who you are outside of the relationship. Yes. Once the relationship is over, you have to decide what you now present as you. Yeah. So and that takes time, because I know who I was in 2017 and angry. Yeah. 40, whatever age I was then, is not who I am now. So exactly. And that took a while to not. Trust is a big deal. Yeah. Trusting men is a huge deal. So how you look at things and rediscovering, and also what you'll accept. Exactly. And being able to say 10 toes down, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing it. And then also, I always say I'm Ebony McGee, but it's just a reminder that I'm resilient, that I'm strong, and I have strength. Yeah. But also, I've been a wife and a mother for the last 20 years. Still, my kids, 21 years. But now my kids, my son is, away in college. My girls are 16. Mm-hmm. So there is a week with their dad, a week with me. So now I'm have a lot of time to myself. Yeah. So like, Ebony, what do you want to eat? Are you cooking? Are you going out to eat? Do you like chicken? Do you want steak? Do you want vegetables? Like, do you even want to fix something to eat? Hello. And so now I have time for other relationships, like my Bible study community, my sisters, my friends. So I get to see myself as Ebony. Yeah. Just a single, and I always put MS period Ebony McGee. Like, I went to the bank and I changed all my my bank cards, my bank account, like everything. And that's another thing you got to do. You got to change your beneficiary, emergency contacts. You got to change all of it. You got to change your life. So they was like, so what do you want? Miss Ebony McGee. And it's an excitement because I haven't seen her in over 20 something years. And I'm getting to know her at this age. And keep in mind, the last time you saw her, she was 20 years old. Yeah, she was 20. Yeah. So she wasn't grown. She hadn't done any work. Yes. Probably had a couple of few jobs. Yeah. Beginning of her collegiate career. Yeah. This is not, it's like, girl, where you been? What's been going on? So I'm like, hey, girl. Let me tell you what we're doing now. So I just politely write my name down. Now So the irony is, so with me, if people know my name, those people who know me forever, I say my name is Nia Johnson Jones. Because I hyphenated made into my married name. So when I was divorcing my ex-husband, when we were in the courthouse, my oldest daughter was very matter of fact about, Mama, you can't change your name because I want you to have my name. And when she said her name, I felt different. Yeah. So that's the saving grace, because that's always gets me. People say, why? I said, because my daughter said her name. Yeah. So I don't associate it with that person. Gotcha. So, and that was clear. I say it all the time, and I mean it. It's my children's name. Mm-hmm. So, but I remember that. Yeah. But a lot of people always say, they go, well, I don't want their name. And I get it. I totally understand it. And if my daughter wouldn't have come to me and asked me that, I definitely would have changed it. The fun fact of the story that we were in the courthouse and they when we did ours, they asked, "Are you intending on keeping your name?" And I remember clearly looking at him and going, "Yeah, it's my kid's name." Because my oldest guy said, he was looking at me like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's not even a bit like it's not even about the name."
Yeah.
For you, for him, I'm saying, but for me, it was about my name.
Yeah.
My girls.
Yeah.
So I think that, and that was another step to being, for me, independent with my kids. Yeah. Not independent with him, but just I wasn't holding on. But I was like, no, it's their name.
Exactly. You know? I love that. Yeah. I thought I was gonna keep the name for the kids, and then when he got there, I was like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. No, let me tell you something. I think, and I tell people, I think if for me, and I think with most moms, if your kid would have come to you and said, "Hey, mom, can you keep it out?" It's a different exactly. Look. But if they haven't said, you're like, "Girl, y'all can have your daddy name. I don't give a whatever." But me, I'm gonna be Ebony McGee.
Ebony McGee. Yeah. And then I was thinking about, I was like, the girls are going to get married. They're going to either save or not save the name. Yes. And then I have to make room for my future. Yeah. I can't be having so I'm going to erase it and clear it up. We're getting rid of everything right now.
Nobody tied to this but me. I get that. I know. I said if I get married again, I'm
clear it out.
I'm going to drop my this name.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't even make sense. I would definitely not be hyphenating it.
Yeah, we're not hyphenating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Clear it out. So with the song, make it rain, clear it out. Make it rain, clear it out. Yes.
But we talked about the next one is healing the heart and mind.
Yeah.
So I think because you have to heal, you have to go into the next relationship, which turns into a marriage.
Yeah.
Is healed. Even, but and I say this because one of my friends said it to me. She said, "Girl, I love when you say you're not completely healed." I was like, "I'm not." She said, "But you're healed to be able to do the work when you get in a relationship."
Yeah,
that's the most important part because you can't really completely heal because you haven't had a chance to heal while communicating with another man as a partner.
Yeah,
because you can just think about what you would do. I used to tell him I'd come home and I would just cook and he would do this. But with a marriage, you would have to change your mindset. So you wouldn't be able to look at this. You hopefully wouldn't be able to look at this person the way you looked at the last person. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
So you won't know.
Yeah. You know? And so with the healing the heart and mind, like I laugh and I look forward to my next. I do. Yeah. But I'm enjoying this singleness and I love that God is purifying and removing those impurities of my heart because it doesn't just show up in relationships, it shows up in friendships and partnerships and business. So I need God to show me my heart now, and I'm enjoying this space. I look forward to my next, but I love the heart check that God is doing to me. So I believe that, like you said, I'm healing.
Yes.
And it's getting better each day. Yes. But then there's some things I won't know until I get into a relationship. But right now I'm enjoying this heart in my mind, this change in my mind of how I looked at things, our perspectives. It's just growing. So just being able to look at that in my singleness right now is good.
I think if you go back to when you were married, I know for me, I never looked at what I looked at what a future looked like.
Yeah.
But not a future with a partner. I just know I'm going to have a person.
Gotcha.
So it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? So with us, especially with businesses, you know, you look at your future as like, we joked about it last episode, was like, he'll be downstairs, I'll be upstairs in our building, and we're working, he's working on his stuff. So you didn't have, like, you know, when that was taken from you, you know, with the computers or whatever, you're like, well, I'm not going to have a business when I'm a business with myself. So your mindset changed, but when you meet your person, your husband, you're like, oh, okay, well, we could do business maybe together or separate in the same space or talk about business.
Yes.
Or, you know, so I think
even talk about it.
And honestly, my partner doesn't have a business, but we talk about my business all the time. Sometimes too much. But that's the thing. Like I tell people all the time, like you can heal through so many things and you can heal through losing the marriage, but you really don't know how healed you are till you find your next relationship because you have to stop doing the stuff you were doing before.
Yeah, every time you sting me, I feel like I'm about to cry. Wait, what is this? We've been doing so good.
I cried last time.
When you said, see, that's what I'm saying. It's certain things that I'm not going to understand.
Right, you won't.
When you said talk about your business.
Yes, it's a big deal.
Do you understand how many hours?
I know. Yeah, you're waiting for that. You're so ready for that. I get it. No, it's a different energy.
I don't even realize talking about, we don't even have to go in business.
No.
I could just tell you, hey babe, this happened, and you could just run your ideas to me. Like I haven't even, because I'm in here hours. I'm in here hours most of the times in the morning, just like brainstorming on my own. Like, what you think about this? It's me.
So let me help you. So it switches to the brainstorm you have in your head.
Yeah.
You say out loud to this person.
And they answer back.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, that's right. Like my partner had decided something for me that he's seen, and I've been like, it's never gonna, and it actually, I don't want to talk about too much, it might happen, but he saw it, he had been speaking it, he had been praying about it way before I was even like,
girl, praying for my business.
Yes,
Jesus.
Yes, it's real life. I'm not even making that up. But I'm saying to say that you won't know. And again, for us, it sounds like you just hear like, oh my God, I can't, because you can't imagine it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what that looks like. I'm used to being in here for 12 hours, getting it, and making it happen. Like I tell you, building pyramids by myself and just looking to the left and looking to the right. And I ain't got nobody. I can talk to my partners. I can talk to my friend. I have a good circle of friends who have businesses, but it's different when you have a person.
My God.
Who is actually listening to you and saying to you, that would be a good decision if you do it this way, or what you said is true, but maybe you should do that. And you're just like, well, I don't know. I didn't think about it. So that's why I'm saying when you're healing through something, we healed and we grieved these marriages, and now we heal in a relationship to say, I would like to say this to you. I don't know how it's going to hit, but I'm hoping. That's why I say it. They have to calm your nervous system, because you build a business, and we don't speak about our businesses to everyone.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to build something, birth something,
you're
like, do I really want to tell Jackie that I'm thinking about doing this? I
really
want to tell Paulina. But if it's your person, you're like, heck yeah, I'm thinking about doing it. Everybody's like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk it through. I don't know, maybe. So that's why I say you heal, you hurt through one, you heal, great. We've left that in the rearview mirror. We ain't going back to that. But now this new you has to meet another person who's going to see the new you.
Exactly. That is so, like, even making a decision of, like I said, signing the papers to say, babe, you deserve this. Come on, I'm gonna walk you through it. Or let me walk, girl. Hold up. This is a whole nother level. Because only thing I'm telling kids is, y'all go to sleep. They be like, Ma, you work so late. You work so hard, so late. But I can't tell it to them.
No.
But they see, like, okay, when I went to sleep, you were up. When I woke up, you were up.
But that's why it's important to do all these things that we're doing and actually talk it out and be here, and for you, and honestly, for you and I to connect the way we did, because you need to really hear that it gets so much better. Like it does, and even though you see it, and even though you know it, and you know you want it, I can tell it gets so much better, and you just have to really understand. But you have to go through that and work on like you say, your singledom has to be really good, and then you can move on to bring your person into that and allowing them to become your person. Because girl, we don't. I tell you, 2017, girl, I want nobody be my person. It took a while. So I don't even trust anyone. Especially with my business. So
exactly.
It's different.
It's hard. And by the way, I'm going to see the building tomorrow.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yes, so my realtor and I are going to see it tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Girl, he really coming.
Coming.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming.
So the last one is building with intention. And having new standards and boundaries and stepping to the next version of ourselves. Which I think, girl, we did step, stomped, jumped, hurdled. But again, owning the fact of who you are, because I think that you have to really, once you decide to change how you respond to stuff with people, how you communicate. Because you still have that little person in your head that's like, we don't really talk like that. We don't do that. And it's like, yeah, we do, but we ain't doing that.
Yes, exactly.
And own it. So that's the It's just it's just different. I don't know.
That rebuilding with intention is so good, because I intentionally want to grow. And even with, like you said, just us being business owners, now I'm intentional with my time off with my partner. Like Ari, who assists me, she's my strategic operations manager. And so we sit down and quarterly, we sit down and, we go out to lunch and like, what are our plans? What are the futures? And so she's intentional with my calendar and my time. And so now that's the same thing in going into this, this relationship, or going into new friendships, or going into new things. You have to be intentional, and you want to grow. And so I need to set aside time to read books and to learn something new and to go to this conference and network, or just to rest. So yeah, so being intentional is the word.
And I think when you get to like you say, across the board,
yeah,
work, life, church, family, kids,
yeah,
whatever, and then when you get to the part of dating, that's how you start picking people off the tree.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we're not going to deal with is not being intentional.
Oh yes.
Because even though my ex-boyfriend was sociopath, he was very intentionally sociopathic, but he was intentional. So, but it was very, our time was very like, we're going to do this, we're going to go to this football game, you know what I'm saying? So it was very, because we don't have it. Like you don't have time for wishy-washy.
Oh, I don't.
It's like, girl, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not going high. We're no lukewarm.
I'm not good. Right.
Yeah.
And none of the whole. So I think that when you come out of that, your, like you say, your boundaries, your energy, especially your time, is so important. You're like, what are we doing? Exactly.
And I need I need us to come to, or because I like the leadership. Yeah. Come to me and tell me this is what we're doing. Oh, yeah. I need a plan. I don't need to be like, I don't need to guess what we're doing.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I have to tell stuff going on.
Yeah.
I gotta guess with these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a plan. What we doing, baby?
And again, it goes back to when you have been disappointed.
Yeah.
And we won't even allow someone the time. Like you say, they'll be like, I'm gonna do. You're like, no. It's not. No. I'm not even gonna have you even have time. No. Yeah. And they can be saying, I was gonna go fix you. I didn't even hear it. So it's bad. But it's important because, but again, I think another show. But I think women and men, I think that we find sometimes the new partners, and they fulfill one of the 5 things you want. So you get fixated on, like, if your thing was business. Yeah. You both run businesses. You're like, oh my God, he runs a business. We talk about business. But he's so non-communicative about everything else but business. Yeah. You're like, that's not going to work. But the business part is great. I talk about a guy that I met long time ago, and it's the true story. I think I met him on one of the apps, which we're going to get into that. But he ran a trucking company, and I had just started. Had just really kind of tiptoeing into the dog boarding thing. He's like, you need to get an EIN number. You need to get a Dunn Street thing. I've never heard any of those things. Yeah. Talked to him for 5 days. Ghosted me after that. But I always say he came in for a reason. Because I didn't know any of those things. Yeah. And then we never talked again. But whatever. But my point is that some people, you'll know this is not going to be anything. And I still wanted to talk to him. Funny enough, I was still reaching out going, well, should I do this? Now you became my business consultant. I was like, well, I don't know anything. But it didn't work out. So I'm like, we're not going to date. But by the way, can we still talk about this? How do you file your taxes? So, but I think that you definitely have to go through, if you don't have to get divorced, but I'm saying if you're going through a divorce and a disappointment, I think you have to go through those things. And it also is about getting healed, but then it's just a new version of you. Exactly. And that new version that has to deal with people meeting the new version of you. Yeah. And that person is important that they're doing the work too. Yeah. Yeah. So that we can meet each other. Yeah. Yeah. Because men come in healed too. Yeah. Oh. I think that we talked about just how we've gone from disappointment to beginning to heal. Yeah. Disappointment to healing. Yeah. Because we're done with going back into time. I think you also have to be done with going back into time and dwelling on it too. Yeah. So you have to kind of like, I've done the work. I've done the you, and you're ahead of the game. You did the work in. I did the work when I got out, and now I'm 8 years over the line. 8 years in November. So, and then now we get into healed as individuals. Yeah. So absolutely. I think we've done that. So we're gonna end with saying that Ebony's husband is gonna come because she looks so fabulous that y'all can see. I hope he coming more for just looks, because the looks gonna go away. Well, I mean, hey, I hope he comes. Look for the heart. Look for the heart and the spirit. That's another story. You got like I don't know why people don't own that. I got to be cute. See, we need to talk about that next time. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You have to have before they go. Yeah. Exactly. Before they. Yeah. But that's not true, because depending on how you meet them, maybe I say to you, that's not true, real quick. Because if I say I know Jack John, I think he'd be cool, and he calls you, so you haven't seen him. Yeah. And remember how I'm attracted. Yeah. So it might be different. It might be different. The spirit. The spirit, the heart. Because there's beautiful people all the time, all the way. Yeah, and there's always somebody beautiful. Yeah. But the spirit. Yeah. Sticks. Okay, so we're going to end in prayer. We're going to end in prayer.
Yeah, and no telling what our next episode is going to be, but I'm excited.
No, but I have decided.
Okay.
Episode 10 is going to be about you.
About me?
Yes, I've decided it's going to be about this factuality of no dating.
Oh, okay. Going straight into marriage. Yes. I'm excited about it.
Episode 10.
They're gonna really think I'm a Delulu. They're gonna really think I'm Delulu.
No, I don't. No, I think no. I honestly think it's gonna resonate with people who haven't been able to voice it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what it is.
Ooh.
However, I think that I've been doing some research on it. I think that once we talk about it, it's gonna. I'll have more clarity on it, and we won't be like. And see what you just said. It's not delusional.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't understand it when we talk about it.
Yeah.
You are concrete on it.
I'm not dating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
no girlfriend.
We're gonna pray on this show, and we're gonna pray for future, and Ebony's gonna pray us out. I'm still a part.
So before we talk about no dating, maybe we should talk about dating.
That's it.
So that's it.
Dating.
Okay.
Right. What does dating look like at this ripe old age?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it was a good show. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Beyond.
Okay. All right. So gracious Heavenly Father, we just say thank you, God. We thank you for each other, oh God. We thank you for you. We thank you for being the center of this conversation, God. Lord, we ask that you be with each viewer, oh Father God, and for the person that's behind the scene, oh God, that has experienced this in real time. Remind them that you are close to the brokenhearted, Father God. God, I ask that you just comfort them, restore them, build them up, God. Give them a new language, new wineskin, oh God, a new mindset, a new perspective, God. We just say thank you, God. Thank you for what you're doing, God. Thank you for even speaking through a podcast, speaking through us, oh God. God, we love you. We adore you. In Jesus'